Good afternoon. Welcome to Travels with Tulsans, sponsored by the Friends of the Tulsa City County Libraries. I'm Marion Sexton, and I'm really glad to see you this afternoon. Thank you for zooming in on this snowy day and seeing the third of our 8 consecutive Wednesdays that we have Travels with Tulsans. Next week, we plan to be back at Rudisill Library, hopefully, where we will enjoy learning about Singapore, Life in the Little Red Dot, presented by Craig Bryant. Craig actually lived in Singapore for 3 years as a consul with the U.S. Embassy, so he will be sharing his unique perspective on this complex and growing nation. If questions come to your mind while our speaker today is presenting, please click on the chat at the bottom of your screen and type your question. At the end of her presentation, I will share each of her questions with her and get her response. Sorry. Now, here is Carol Willett to introduce our wonderful speaker. Carol?
Thank you, Marion. It is my great honor today to be able to introduce our speaker, Anitra Lavanhar. Before I tell you more about Anitra, I do want to join Marion in welcoming all of our Zoom viewers today. We're always pleased that so many of you are willing to follow Travels with Tulsans this way. We think we have a really great offering in allowing so many of our interesting Tulsa citizens to share their travels with you, and Anitra certainly exemplifies that. Anitra became a Tulsan 25 years ago when she and her family moved here from Boston. She shared with me that when she was a junior in college, she had an experience of being an exchange student to India. And she thought that possibly then she began understanding that travel could give you a deeper perspective, a deeper understanding of how people know themselves and know their environments. Her great gift as a presenter is undoubtedly her talent as a photographer. It amazes me that despite the fact that she has a job as a paraprofessional at Jenks Public Schools, she is able to accomplish so much in the realm of photography. She offers her skills in portraiture, in fine art photography, in landscape and nature photography, and she does quite a lot of instruction in workshops and in classes all throughout northeastern Oklahoma. She has taught at Philbrook, at the Tulsa Foundation for Architecture, at Life Senior Services, and at various schools and community groups throughout our area. She often does workshops in smartphone photography because I think she recognizes that that's how a lot of us are trying to use our own talents in photography, and that we're pretty lacking in talent at it sometimes. So I think that shows a lot of adaptation on her part. Presently, and this is impressive, she is excited to announce 2 big exhibits coming up. On February 9th, there will be the start of an exhibit of her work at Tulsa International Airport. And on March 6th, she'll be opening a portraiture exhibit, a solo show to be held at 101 Archer Street. So I'd encourage all of us to get out and see her work and enjoy it for ourselves. On her website, Anitra explains, "Through the lens of a camera, I developed a deeper way of seeing that allows me to focus on the often unnoticed details and the beauty within us and around us." It is that perspective that I'm sure she's going to bring to our program today as she shares with us the amazing sights she found on Moroccan streets. Anitra?
Thank you so much, Carol. Appreciate your introduction and so appreciate being here and everyone for showing up. Very excited to share with you these photos because it allows me to relive the experience through the photos as well. And it was such an amazing experience. So without further delay, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully you're all seeing it. Make sure I get my slideshow up here. Okay, and then I'm gonna start. Okay, so hopefully thumbs up or something that you see my screen. If I don't hear anything, I'll just go ahead. This is the trip that I took in 2022 with my family during a sabbatical for my husband's work. It was my husband, myself, and our daughter, who was 15-ish, maybe a little younger. Now I can't remember. And we had the amazing experience of being able to spend a few weeks in Northwest Spain to start out. We have a good friend that has a house in a village that is in the Galicia region. Just an incredible experience because we could go from there and explore Portugal and other parts of Spain. So we really thoroughly enjoyed that time. And then we flew back to Madrid and got on a plane and went to Morocco for 2 weeks. So this was our route that we took. By the time we did this, it was summertime. So we were limited to some areas that were going to be way too hot. And we kind of kept our route to this region of Morocco, starting out in Tangier, going to Chefchaouen, then Fez, a little teeny town in the mountains called Balil, and then to Rabat and Casablanca. So to start off, let's see, I'll just leave it like that. Okay, this is starting in Tangier, and Tangier is historic port city, mixed kind of old and new architecture, and it's located right at the Strait of Gibraltar. It's the gateway between Africa and Europe. Matisse spent time there, and there's a beautiful Casbah fortress there. And of course, these markets, they were just incredible with all the food. Hold on, I guess when someone is kind of come into the Okay, it's not letting me forward the screen. My slideshow is not forwarding. Oh, there we go. Sorry. All right. So sorry ahead of time for some, if you're a vegetarian, some of these pictures are going to show, um, you know, some of the meats and things that you will see in the marketplace. I will say that this view of the women that you see will be a common view, which is seeing them from behind, because for the most part, they did not appreciate their picture being taken. I did, however, take plenty of pictures of men and children and cats. Supposedly there's as many cats as there are people in Morocco. So I ended up actually creating a whole book, which maybe I'll get to show you later, which was a book and a calendar of the street cats of Morocco. But for the women, I had to be a little more from getting them from behind, a little more secretive. Of course, they have the amazing textiles, so colorful and beautiful. And so here's a image of a man in one of the places where they sell the tapestries and the rugs, and at his loom. And then the doors. You see this all over Europe, all over this area. They're just such incredible, rich, beautiful history and design in the doorways. I would love to do someday a whole poster just of the doors of this area. It's so beautiful. So you can see we're right on the ocean here, looking out, beautiful. Seeing this is kind of taken up above from the Casbah. And then more doors, each one with its own amazing, like the mosaics, the writing you can see above in Arabic and sometimes in French. You can see on the one door to the yellow one has a cat at the doorway, and you see that a lot. And there with the cats, they are living on the streets, but they are taken care of pretty well. There's actually they believe in that cats are like to be worshipped a little bit, and so street owners of stores will take care of the animals by feeding them. And of course, you do see cats that are not as well cared for as well, just because there are so many of them. But as I said, I was able, a lot of the men and the children were willing to have their photos taken directly. So here are some examples of them. And then this photo is giving us a little hint about what's to come. We did not realize this when we booked our trip to this area, that there was a very big holiday about to happen. And I'll tell you more about it soon. But we started to see these goats and sheep all over the place. We saw them being led through the streets. We saw them peeking out of people's homes. We heard them from the rooftops. And we'll tell you more about what's going to happen with them soon. This was taken when we were en route. We actually rented a car and drove in Morocco ourselves, which was a little bit crazy. It was COVID, and we didn't want to be part of like a tour group or something, and we just decided to do this ourselves. And the driving in between areas was pretty easy, but once we got into the areas, it was, oh my gosh, a little crazy. There was, donkey carts and soccer balls and kids and rotaries and not knowing where we were going. And it was definitely a little hectic, but it happened to be the season of onions. And so this is like a roadside little booth selling a ton of onions and the little mosque in the background. So this is kind of in between places. So after Tangier, our next stop, I said, was Chefchaouen. And this city is very well known, very much the kind of place you see on Instagram when it comes to Morocco, because the city is known for its blue washed walls. And they've kind of, for some reason or another, kept that going through the years. I think many of the reason that they kept it going is due to the tourism that it brings in, because it's just so beautiful. But some of the stories about why the blue walls exist have to do with Jewish settlers that were refugees there, that came there initially, and that blue is their color. And then there's also a saying that the blue repels mosquitoes, but it also definitely keeps the tourists coming, and it makes the city really beautiful. This picture kind of cracks me up because everywhere you go now, all over the world, this is what kids are doing on their phones. And another behind the scenes of the women walking. One of the reasons that they don't like getting their picture taken is the belief that the camera will steal their soul. That's kind of a more conservative belief. But then there's also, just in the days of social media, you never know what's going to happen to your picture. So I understand and respect their desires not to have their identities stolen. Amazing shops with such incredible handiwork, mostly handmade wherever we went. These are some details of the shops and the beautiful blue walls and alleyways. In each city, you would have what's called a Medina, and that would be the older section of town where it was no cars, and you just walk through the Medinas and often get lost, which was part of the fun. In Chefchaouen, it was small enough that we eventually, in our 3 days staying there, we kind of figured out our way around the place pretty well. There's my husband taking a picture of some of the wonderful decorations. Actually, what you see hanging there are little mini Berber hats. And the Berbers are the indigenous people of the area, they're indigenous inhabitants of North America. They're predominantly Sunni Muslims, and Berber translates to free people. And they're traditionally agricultural or nomadic people, but we saw them throughout the city. And I'll show you a picture of them coming up soon. So again, the doorways and the cats. This cat is actually sitting next to some colored powder, and I think they're used for paints, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, so here now we see another hint of what is about to happen, and that is the food, the roughage there that they're using to feed the goats and the sheep that they're bringing all around to their homes. And let's see, this picture is just a funeral service they're leading the body into the mosque. And this is in the center of town. There was a woman doing the henna tattoos. You see this on a lot of the women. It's quite beautiful. So my daughter, we got her a cool henna tattoo. Some more of the cute kids and cats and all the beautiful wares that you can purchase. It was almost overwhelming. There was so much beautiful stuff and scents and sounds and smells. This is the traditional bread of the area. It was absolutely delicious. And the next picture, you'll see a bread oven. So they have these ovens throughout the cities because many homes aren't large enough to have their own ovens. So these are actually communal ovens. So the women will come, or people will come with their stuff that they need cooked, and the man will cook it for them out in the open in this big communal oven. Just some of the kitties. I love that white one with the two different color eyes. They often would have boxes set out for the nursing moms and the litters. Some more of the people, shop owners, another shop scene. Okay, now here's a Berber woman with her stuff that she's bringing probably to her goat or her sheep. And let's see, let's say. So I guess this is where, let me see. I'll go a little bit further and then I'm going to tell you about this holiday. Okay, some of the ornate windows and more of the beautiful blue color, and then some more of the people bringing the food to their goats and sheep. This was gorgeous. This was a mosque just outside of the city, and you could go walk up that hill and then see the whole city from there and watch the sunset. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to start to tell you this story. So, this holiday called Eid al-Adha, it's a sacrifice festival, and it happens. It's one of the most biggest holidays of the season for them. And if you are squeamish, the next few pictures you may not want to see because they do show an animal being sacrificed. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about it first. So Eid al-Adha is the festival, and it's we ended up being invited into a family's home to experience it firsthand. Um, and it's conducted by Muslims worldwide, and it marks the end of the Hajj season. That's the season where the pilgrims return from the holy city. So for every family, for every male in the family, they will sacrifice a goat or a sheep. And this particular family had a rooftop terrace where they did it, but some people do it, they don't have those terraces, so they'll just do it out on the sidewalk in front of their home, and literally the streets run red for that day. The tradition is in commemoration of the story of Abraham, who it says was asked by God to sacrifice his only son as a test of his faith. If you know the story from the Hebrew scriptures or Bible, you'll know that at least at the last second, God provides Abraham with a ram to sacrifice instead. And then here's where perhaps the biggest conflict between the Jews and Muslims begin. In the Jewish scriptures, the Torah, it says it's Abraham's second son, Isaac, who is almost sacrificed. Yet in the Islamic scriptures, the Quran, it was his first son, Ishmael. So because Isaac is said to have spawned the Jewish people, and Muslims understand they're the offspring of Ishmael. So this is where we have some disagreement about who is correct. But if you're concerned about how the animals are treated, you should know that the sacrifice is done in what's considered a very humane way. The entire animal is used, and many parts of the animal go, like here in the US, many parts of the animal goes for waste, but in the Muslim countries, the poor will benefit. They'll hand out meat to other people, and they use the skin, they use the head, they use every single part of the animal. So what happens is the morning begins with prayer and the mosque for men, followed by a joyous breakfast, which you can see we were served here. And then the sacrifice, sorry to show, but it was quite intriguing. And then what's really amazing is that they all just know how to do this. All the men know exactly what to do. And the kids are just watching, just, like an everyday thing happening. This is the little teeny kitchen of this home that we stayed in. And then, sorry again for people who are squeamish, but we experienced the sacrifice. It was a very interesting experience. I got to eat some very fresh liver. But our next stop was to Fez, which is not too far from Chefchaouen. And Fez is where they have the tanneries. And so these are where all the skins and the hide get donated to. And they make the leather from there. So when we first got there, it was quite a scene of seeing all those hides out on the road. Fez is the spiritual and cultural capital of Morocco. It's famous for its very ancient walled Medina. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with medieval architecture. You can see those walls of the Medina. They're so narrow, you can't even reach your hands out to them. It's less touristy than Marrakesh, and it also has a Jewish quarter, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. But this was our amazing hotel room we stayed in for probably the equivalent of maybe $60 a night. It was just beautiful. Here's some more street pictures with the pelts lining the streets. They cleaned it up like right away. It was not there for more than a night, but you can see also that kid carrying part of or a chunk of an animal. And then here is our tour guide that we had for the day. He was incredible, and he's explaining to us there that the symbols on the door, the three markings, is a symbol of like a pitchfork. So that would be more of like an agricultural person would live in that area, I think. And you can see the signs there in Berber, Arabic, and French. Here's the tannery, which it was a holiday, so I guess we weren't able to see the beautiful colors that it usually becomes, but it was pretty cool to see anyway. And then the dyed leather stuff that you could buy, very colorful. And then the big gates to the city and the beautiful doorways again. And the storks. I love the storks. They're throughout Europe and that area, this big, huge stork nest. Okay, so this is in the Jewish part of town, and it's interesting to think about the Jewish and Muslims living together, but this Jewish quarter was founded in 1438, and this architecture of the balconies facing out was distinct for the Jewish people. That meant that their women were kind of looking out for their men after they went away, and versus in the Muslim communities, their windows or their courtyards would go into the courtyard towards the family. So it was a little bit different architecture. But anyway, the Muslims and the Jews did coexist in that area at the time, but then more in these times, most of the Jewish people have left. But this is the synagogue there, and there was a Jewish community center as well. Some of the boys. And then this is kind of overview of Fez and some of the details as well. So our next stop, we decided to get out of the cities and go up to this very little teeny town in the mountains, just about a 40-minute drive from Fez, called Balil. And it's a Berber village that we wanted to see. It's in the middle of like the Atlas Mountains there. And people still live in cave dwellings carved into the hillside, which was incredible to see. You'll see in the next pictures. But this is our lovely hotel that we stayed in, and the views that we had. This little place was amazing to see. There's Marlon and I. You can see Marlon's wearing some of the traditional clothing of the area, which was very comfortable, and just an amazing little place to be. And then here we are kind of coming into the little town. And there's our awesome tour guide that we had. He is a local guide who got us to be able to be invited into some of the homes. And in those homes, the traditional thing that the people do is they make these buttons. I wish I could have some to show you here, but they're the little like buttons that are made out of material and thread, and they're beautiful. Many of them are on each item of clothing, but this is what this particular town was known for. So here we are inside the cave dwelling and having some mint tea. They make a big point of pouring it in a very elaborate way. It was very fun, and mint tea was delicious. And there's the woman showing us how she makes the buttons, and my daughter wearing one of the outfits. If you could see it closely, you could see all the way down that middle are these buttons. So it's just amazing how many are used. Another picture of the cave home. They're beautiful homes. The people were wonderful. They were so open and friendly to us, and it was really quite an incredible experience. You can see the henna on the daughter's hands and her trying to show my daughter how to make the buttons, and then some more close-up picture of the henna. And there's another one of those communal ovens. And the women carrying their bread and baked goods after they've come from the ovens. And then here are some of the caves that we explored that people did not live in, but I think there was some history of maybe religious figures living there. So our next stop was Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco. It's on the Atlantic coast. There's beaches, and it's more modern. It's got the political and administrative center, also an ancient Kasbah and Medina and the Hassan Tower. It's a mixture of Arab, Berber culture with French colonial influences, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I don't have a lot of pictures of Rabat, however. This was one of the main ones I have. Maybe some of these shops are Rabat, but they may be Casablanca, because we basically saved most of our shopping to the very end because we didn't want to have to carry our stuff around the whole time. So we ended up doing quite a bit of shopping when we were in Casablanca. I love these eggs being carried on the back of motorcycles. You see all sorts of things being carried on the backs of the motorcycles. So this was the view from our hotel room of the Hassan II Mosque, which is an amazing structure there. It literally means the White House, and it was built partly over the water. It's the second largest mosque in Africa and the 14th largest in the world. It was commissioned by the king, and it was started being built in 1986 and finished in 1993. The minaret, the tall tower there, is the world's second tallest at 60 stories, and it's topped by a laser light that's directed towards Mecca. I love that little detail. The walls are made out of handicraft marble by artisans from all over the kingdom. And it has a retractable roof, which is just amazing. It weighs over 1,000 tons, but it can be opened in about 5 minutes. It's incredible. And that's the way that worshipers can worship under the stars. They can fit a maximum of like 100,000 worshipers in that space. So this is also the view from our hotel. We happened to look over on another rooftop and see a wedding happening. So you can see some of the fun things. It was music. It was very lively. was on another rooftop. And then here are some close-up pictures of exploring the mosque. This is one of the mosques that we were allowed to go inside. Just amazing, amazing details everywhere we went. And this hammam are the baths, the ritual baths where the pilgrim would go to cleanse themselves. I think in the olden days, it probably served a very like, good purpose because the people really needed, they were stinky from their travels. But nowadays it's just used as a part of their rituals for cleanliness for their practice. So there's some other photos. I love the photo to the left is one that I really was happy to take. I saw this woman with the hat walking over there, and actually she was from Arkansas. I thought it was kind of funny. We met in this tour of the mosque. But when I saw her walk towards those windows, I thought, I got to grab my camera. And I was really pleased with that photo. This is the rug that we came home with and exists now in our living room. I'm very happy with our purchase. Of course, you're very inundated by people trying to sell you rugs the whole time you're there, but we were really happy to finally get one and be able to take it home. And I'm finishing with this great picture of this handsome store owner who was just lovely. So that is the end of my slideshow. I'm going to stop my share and I'm actually going to show you really quickly. Hold on, I need to get to, there we go, stop share. Okay, you can just see, if you can see me, this is my book of the street cats of Morocco. And you can see some of the amazing photos. Like these beautiful cats. Anyway, that's all. Hopefully, you guys have some questions and let me know if you do.
These are wonderful. I love your pictures. It's
Thank
just
you.
a fascinating looking place. And nobody's put any questions in yet. Maybe they will in just a second. But I had a question about the Berbers. Are they a minority?
Yeah, they're the indigenous group, but they are a minority. Yeah.
So they're the excuse me, the indigenous group. So the rest of everybody else came from somewhere else at some. I mean, many
I
years ago.
guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
Fascinating. Are they discriminated against, or are they?
I believe so, but I don't know a lot about it. Yeah. In fact, I don't know if this person did show up, but one of my tour guides from Fez said that he was interested in getting the link. So if you're here, let us know and maybe you can answer some questions.
Okay, we have a question. Was there a smell in the streets from all the hides laying in the street?
Yes, there was. Like I said, it was brief, but there was a bit of an odor. Yeah. And it just didn't last long. Like literally the next day, they were all cleared out. It was kind of amazing. I couldn't believe it.
But the whole point of the ritual is the sacrifice of the animal, right?
Yes, yes.
Really interesting. When you travel with your photographer's eyes, this Julie is asking this, how does it change the way you view things around you?
Hmm. I think being a photographer in general, I feel like I see very deeply wherever I am.
Mm.
And when I travel, though, I'm seeing a place for a first time. And so um, I might not be seeing as deeply as if I'm exploring a place that I've known for a long time. So I do think it can vary a little bit. And sometimes I do make it a real point to put my camera down, obviously, and just experience where I am, because you can get a little carried away with, being behind the lens and trying to capture everything. But I think my main goal when I'm in a place like that is to try to represent the feel of the place as best as I can through the images. Oh, I
Yeah.
see that question about the carpet. They packed it amazingly, and we just bought an extra little duffel bag and brought it home ourselves. They packed it
You
so
actually just,
tight.
you just carried it on the airplane, huh?
Yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Oh, and somebody says they like the rug that you chose. I do too.
Thank you.
Carol says, I've only visited Casablanca. One thing that surprised me was seeing women in traditional dress walking arm in arm with women in modern dress, wearing high heels and makeup. Did you see any
That's
of that
funny.
blend?
Well, you definitely see the mix. I don't know if I saw them hand in hand like that, but yeah, the mix is there for sure. It's quite a interesting combination of like European, African, it's a real blend.
Do all the women wear a hijab?
Not all, but most, I would say. Yeah.
Um, Also, to what extent is French still an influence in the country? Carol wants to know.
I wouldn't be able to really answer that, but it definitely is predominant, as you can see, like in the signs and stuff. So I'm not sure though, exactly.
Is Morocco still overseen by the French? Are they? I mean, kind of like Puerto
Um,
Rico is with the United States, maybe.
that's probably a really good question that I should know the answer to, but
Okay.
unfortunately, I don't. Yeah. I have a, yeah, no, I don't know. I shouldn't answer it.
Okay. Well, your photography was wonderful. The blue is it's such a gorgeous blue.
Oh,
Yeah.
it really is. Yeah, it's just incredible. I have a calendar here too, but I guess it's just the street cat one, so I don't think there's anything new picture wise. Yeah, no,
I think you
yeah, but
should make a calendar or a book of the doors. I've loved the doors in places that I've been. And
oh
it
yeah, there.
Go ahead.
I think doors are really wonderful because they represent that kind of moving through something and yeah. Oh, here, Morocco gained independence in 1956. Thank you.
Okay, such an incredible slideshow and presentation. Your photos are stunning. How do we buy your book and or calendar? And do you have a website to view more of your work?
Thank you, Leah. Um, the book and calendar are not for sale anymore. It was just a limited edition. But I do have a website, which is anitrazeye.com. And I do sell prints on my website. And feel free to check that out or follow me on, social media. I'm Instagram Anitra's Eye as well.
Is there an apostrophe in there?
No,
Okay. I don't know how
no,
you do that, but yeah.
yeah.
Just Anitra's eye altogether without
Yeah,
an
the
apostrophe.
word Eye. Yes, yes.
Wonderful. We really,
Thanks.
really appreciate you doing this for us. And this is your third presentation for us, and each one is wonderful. And we really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
So,
I
where are
really
you going
appreciate it.
next?
I don't have any plans at this point,
Oh my
so we'll
gosh!
see. I know, just those big trips are definitely not something I can do all the time, but really love the opportunities that I've had to be able to do them. Yeah.
Well, you'll
I'll
have
keep
to
you
come.
posted though.
Yes, please. Please keep us posted. And there's probably other places that you've been that you haven't shown us yet.
Probably. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cuba.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Visually, photographically, it's just an incredible place. And I just saw Leah put my website in the chat if
Good.
anyone wants that. And thank you again, everybody, for taking part and allowing me to relive my trip through my photos again.
It
I'm
really is
sure
fun to go
everybody.
back through your photos of a trip because you don't think about it And
Yeah.
it really refreshes. Oh, yeah, that was really a good trip.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
What year did you go?
I 2022.
So it really was at the end, toward the end of the pandemic, but it was still,
Yeah.
yeah, that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed
Mhm.
home. And so now I'm trying to catch up. And I'm staying home this week, too. I hope
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else is doing that. I like your
Yeah.
room. It looks like it's a
Oh, thank you. This is
kind of a
my little
studio.
office.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
thank you
right. Thank
so
you.
much. And we'll see you all next week.
Okay. Take
All right.
care. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.